Alright, hello again. This is Jeff Scott at Blackhawk Technical College. What I've decided to do is to create a series of lectures on my own. And in this one, what I'm going to do is I've asked you to create that body mass index calculator. And I've done it myself, and I'm going to share with you right now what I've done. I actually did it like the Ray Wenderlich tutorial article. I've done this inside of a playground. So I'm going to replicate what I've done for you. It's not going to look like this. I didn't put any GUI in there, but just so you can see how I've done this. All right, so I'm going to start up Xcode. And I single clicked it. I should have double clicked it. Actually, maybe I can go in there through Finder. All right, and as always, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get started with a playground. I'll call it BMI Playground. I'll make sure, as always, I have the platform set to iOS and click Next. Again, I kept this very, very simple. Okay, I'll save it right to the desktop. And again, I'm going to put all my code out here in all of its glory or lack thereof so that you have some kind of an idea here of what I'm doing. Not a lot of code. I'm looking at it. There's about 50 lines or so. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the comment at the top because I really don't need that. And I'm going to get rid of that var line. I'm also going to I'm going to import foundation. That's the recommendation, is that you import that if you're going to put any GUI tools in there. Well, I didn't put any in, but at least originally I was going to. So I put in, again, I did this based off of the tip calculator that we did. So this is class BMICalculator. All right, and I put in here var height colon double, and I'm not going to give it an initial value. Don't think that I have to. Var weight. My machine is not being very responsive right now, so which is a double. And I'm going through this again, so var BMI, surprise, it's going to be a double. And finally, var status, which I said is going to be a string. Okay? Now, if I have any problems, I'm changing this around from the way that I'd done it earlier, but if I have problems, we're going to know them very quickly. So here's going to be my, I put in here double quotes, constructor. Remember, because we don't technically have an instructor, we have an init method. And I'm going to have in here height. So when I call this, I'll need to pass in height, which will be a double, and I need to pass in weight, which again will be a double. All right? That's the only thing that I'm going to actually set up in here. So when I create an existence of an object of this, it's going to have to, so I'll have self.height equal height, self.weight equal weight. The BMI is going to be equal to a routine that I haven't written yet that's called calculate BMI. And finally, the status will be equal to something that I called, this is wrong, I spelled calculate wrong. The status will be equal to a routine, again, that I haven't written yet, that's called calculate BMIStatus. Oops. And I did pass in BMI. I probably don't have to do that, but then I called print all info to print everything. In fact, I don't think I need to even pass this. I think that that's going to be, these are all global variables, so I should be okay with what I've got here. So if we look in here, what's here so far, and again, I'm getting these error messages. Yeah, I know. I'm getting these error messages because I haven't written these routines yet. So the first one I'll write is func and calculate BMI. I'm not passing anything in, but I am going to return a double, which is going to be my calculated BMI. And that's return, might have went a little paren crazy here, weight times 703 divided by, and it's the POW function here, so POW of height, comma 2.0, which says to square height. So it's divided by height squared. All right, so I want to return that, and one more curly, or one more paren rather. Spelled weight wrong, I can see. All right, so that fixed the errors that I had, one of the errors I had. So now let's call func, and that's going to be calculate BMIStatus. And again, I don't believe I need to pass anything into that, but this time it will return a string. Okay, if the BMI is less than 18, the status is equal to underweight. Okay. Else, if the BMI is greater than 25, the status is equal to overweight. I could have easily used constants for these and set up instead of the 18 and the 25, but I didn't. Else, the status is equal to optimal weight. And finally, I'm going to return the status. All right, before I do the print all info, which is the only error that I'm getting right here, let's just take a look at what we've done so far. All right, so I've got a class called BMICalculator. Here are my class variables: height, which is a double, weight, which is a double, BMI, which is a double, and status, which is a string. I could have made height and weight. I probably could have just as easily made those ints. In our init routine, so when we create an instance of a BMI calculator, we have to pass in a height and we have to pass in a weight. Then based on those heights and weights, we'll call calculate BMI, which just does the formula. And then we'll call status, which checks based on the BMI that we have, and it'll either set status to overweight, underweight, or optimal weight. All right, so the only thing that's left is the function that prints all info. So func, oops, z, print all info. Let me give myself a little bit of room here, so I'm going to move this down a little. Okay, even a little more than that. All right, so in my func print all info, I put in 4 print statements. First, print the inputted height was backslash and then parens height. The next line is the same, except instead of height it's weight. going to put that in there 4 times. So the inputted weight was, and we'll print out the weight. All right. Then next, I wanted to print out the BMI. Now, to print this out, I wanted it to 2 decimal places. And this was very interesting because I ended up looking out online for how to have that go to 2 decimal places. And it was a lot bigger pain in the butt than I thought it was going to be. So I have here C URL. As oftentimes, I went up to Stack Overflow. .com questions /2733 8573 dash rounding dash double dash value dash 2 dash x dash number dash of dash decimal dash places dash in dash Swift. All right, so that's the URL that I used, and I ended up saying here the calculated. So this was the calculated BMI, not height, BMI, and that was of course BMI. And then finally, the associated status was and that's status. Now normally I would have done a little bit of this, and that's actually how I did write it. I did a little, and then I, after I got done, then I tested it, then I did a little more and I tested it. So I just created 3 BMICalculator objects. I said let Mary equals BMICalculator, and I gave Mary a height of 72 inches and a weight of 111 pounds. That was the first one. Okay. Then I let Stan be another BMI calculator, and Stan would also have a height of 72. I wasn't very picky here, and a weight of 100 and let's say 160 pounds. All right. Then finally, I'm going to have let Milt equals one more BMI calculator, and Milt will also be 72 inches tall, and his weight will be 333 pounds. And I forgot the colon here. So when you look through here, I have no errors. And I want to go and bring up my console at the bottom of the screen. And it says there's at least something in here it doesn't like. It says error, use of self in here. Before all stored properties are initialized. It's telling me on line 16. I may have to go back and revert back to what I did earlier. All right. What I did earlier when I started, this goes against the grain of what we're supposed to do here, but I did this. I did var height equals 0.0. And I var weight equals 0.0. And finally, var BMI equals 0.0. So I did those, and I set it up like that. I know that's not the way that it showed in the book, but it seemed to be cleaner like that. And for the string, I said var string equals double quote, double quote. Okay, so I put that stuff in just like that. All right, now I've got more errors, but let's go back and I'll change it to the way it says here. So init height double, weight double. Self.height equal height, self.weight equal weight. That was all okay. BMI calculator, that was okay. When I called the status, I passed in BMI. All right, which means that in here, I need BMI also. trying to see, because it's funny, I'm getting all these errors and I didn't get any when I ran it before. So let's see what we have. Value of type BMICalculator has no member weight. Because I spelled weight wrong over here. Okay. Well, it fixed that. All right, BMICalculator. I didn't put in BMI either. Var BMI equals 0.0. All right. Now I'm down to just one error, and that's pretty good. All right, and this BMI that's down here, I had to say that it was a double. All right. Now it looks like my errors are gone, and I'm looking down here. There's my stuff. Now, it ran a little funky like that, so what I ended up doing after the associated status up here that we said in this print line, in the print all info, after this I put \n \n, so it would read a little nicer. All right, so let's move this down right there, and we'll move this up so we can see exactly what went on here. All right, so Mary had a height of 72 and a weight of 111. 72 and 111. This didn't work, but I think I know why, and I'll fix that in just a second. All right, and was underweight. That's correct. Then we had Stan, who had a height of 72 and a weight of 160 and a BMI of 21 point something. That's correct, and was of optimal weight. Mary was underweight. Then we had Milt, who was 72 inches or 6 feet tall but weighed 333 pounds, so his BMI was over 45, so he was overweight. So as you can see, it all worked. Now, the only thing that I have to do is where I print out the BMI here, I wasn't complete. I went out to that website to find out how to print this. All right, so I printed it actually differently than this. I said the calculated BMI was, and I plus string, then in parentheses, after the paren right here, format, colon, percent, 0.2f, percent, comma, BMI. All right, it's going to give me errors now until I remove this stuff. So now, when you take a look at what's here, and I think it might need one more, there we go. Now let's take a look at how this prints out. Or if this, there we go. Oh, now it's got 0.2, so that didn't put the percent sign in there. So now notice that the BMI in each case is set to 2 decimal places. All right, so one last time, I will leave everything that you see here in here, but I'm going to push this way down. I'm going to push this way up so you can see everything from the top, from the get-go. What I'm going to do in the next lecture is I'm going to take this example that I've just done here, and I'm going to make a project out of it. All right, pretty much what your assignment is to do. Okay, so I imported foundation. I think if I leave this line out, if I comment it out, I think it'll still work just fine. I don't think I'll get any errors or anything. Let's see if my output still shows in there. It does. As you can see, it's still there. So I didn't need that. All right. It is recommended that when you start putting GUI stuff in, you import the foundation class, but I'm going to leave it there anyway. UI kit is what we got by default. Here's the beginning of my class designation. I had a height, which I initialized to 00, a weight 00, a status to 00, a BMI to 00, and a status to the empty string. Now, probably I could have gotten around all that stuff by just using the question mark colon stuff. All right. Then I had my init, where I'd said I'm going to have to pass in both a height and a weight, and they're both doubles. And whatever I pass in, since I use the same name weight here as here, since I use the same name height here as here and as here, I needed the self dot in front of it. So self dot height equal height, self dot weight equal weight. And then for the BMI, I said the BMI is going to be equal to an actual call to the function. So that's going to call calculate BMI, which is right here, which returns the weight times 703 divided by the height squared, which is the formula that I had for the BMI. All right. Then we've got status, and that equals to calculate BMI status, and we pass the BMI in. Again, let's see if I leave that off, if I get an error or not. All right, so I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to remove all of this. And it looks like it worked okay without it, and that's actually a much cleaner way of doing it. So I'm going to leave that off. All right, so I call calculate BMI status, which returns a string. If the BMI is less than 18, the status is underweight. If it's greater than 25, the status is overweight. Otherwise, the status is optimal weight, and then I just return the status. Finally, I print all of the associated information. And as you can see, it's just a succession of print statements. Again, for the one for the BMI, I formatted it so it would come with 2 decimal places. All right? And then I came outside of the class and I instantiated 3 instances of this. And what I'm going to do, I'm not hooked up to the internet right now, but I am on the Intel machine I am. I'm going to bring up BMICalculator here and just double check and make sure these were all correct. So I'm going to say with 6 feet, 0 inches, and a weight of 111 pounds, the BMI should have been 15.1 minus 15.05. All right. Putting this at 166, says the BMI is 22.5. It's funny because I got 21.7. No, I'm sorry, I used 160, not 166. 21.7, right on. And finally, for the last one, which was 72 and 333, that gave a BMI of 45.2. I had a 45.16 because I added it 2 decimal places. Hopefully that helped. What I will do is I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to leave this up here. And I'm going to leave what's there up there for approximately 1 minute. Then I'm going to move it down for approximately 1 minute. So, go. So that was 1 minute. You should have been able to see everything through the calculate BMI in that amount of time. So now I'm going to move down further. And that literally is everything else. So I'll leave that up there for 2 minutes, and then I'll leave the output out there for a minute. Alright, that's been about a minute, so I'll leave it up there for literally 1 more minute, and then I will leave just the output out there, okay? Also, like I said, for about 1 minute then. Alright, that's been just about 2 minutes. So what I'll do now is I'll move this up, and I'll move this up. So now you can see both the instantiation of my objects and the output, and I'll leave that up there again for about a minute. All right, hopefully you got enough out of that that'll give you some help. Okay?